Hi, Luca. Hi, Cristiano.
Hello,
So
Fabio.
nice to have you.
How are you?
Hi. Very good.
Hello,
Very
Fabio.
good.
How are you?
All best. So happy to have you here, seeing what you guys have to show us today, right?
Thanks for having us, Fabio.
Yeah. So as we saw in the last sessions, I mean, we are now having another customer from Flowable, which is actually using Flowable underneath their product, right? So we will actually really see how Flowable can support also a smart integration company, data integration company as Primeur, supporting their end customers. I think your product is called Data One, as far as I know, right? So as the name might tell, it's about how to smartly integrate data from various systems in one solution. So I think it's a really interesting session here today as well. So stay tuned and listen in. Today with us, we have Luca Musso, which is the CTO at Primeur. And we have Cristiano Lazzari, which is the technical sales director at Primeur. So also a big opportunity to ask questions today. So there is a question section underneath the screen. Like if you scroll a bit down, there is a question session, so you can ask questions throughout the whole presentation. We will have a slot at the end of the presentation to cover the sessions, these questions. So go ahead and ask as many questions as you want, right? Over to you now, Luca and Cristiano. So I'm really looking forward for your presentation.
Thanks a lot, Fabio. Thanks a lot. So, hi, everybody. My name is Luca. I'm the CTO of Primeur. Just let me introduce briefly our company, what we do. So Primeur is a software company that has been on the market for about 35 years. We have quite solid presence in Europe and some overseas customer in the US and in South America. We have acquired over time about 300 customers, many of them in the Fortune 500. And we also manage, thanks our valuable business partners, their installations. So we are in the data integration market, as Fabio said before, and we provide both technologies and services for our customer in order to simplify their data integration needs. Always we try to preserve their technological investment by integrating what they are already using. Our mission is to make data integration simple to use, accessible and sustainable, and we try as an approach, a philosophy we have to give a kind of freedom to our clients. What does it mean? We try all the time to make them decide which kind of technology they prefer to use and avoid as much as we can they look in with a specific vendor. This is where our clients, in what kind of the market they are. So most of them are in the finance market. We are speaking about banks and insurances, but we have also a good presence of clients in the retail, automotive, energy, telco, and few in the public administration. So let's talk briefly about the technology, our product, and let me start giving a definition about the difference between application integration and data integration and why it matters. Let me clarify what we mean with the terms application integration and data integration based on our experience. In fact, today, if you Google these two terms, you will find many different definitions. Just to give an example, for Gartner, application integration is the process of enabling independently design application to work together. For TIBCO, instead, application integration is the process of making your application communicate with each other by exchanging data. So, and I can go so on and so on. So there are many different definitions you can find behind these two terms. Who's right, who's wrong? Well, it usually depends what kind of outcome you want to achieve. So based on our experience, we came up with this definition that for us works. Application integration we believe is the best approach when you need to manage both data and services most of the time in a real-time way. So application integration fit very well when the needs is this. As the application grow, what we experienced is that, of course, complexity, maintenance cost, and difficulty of making changes increase. Data integration, instead, we believe is the best approach when you just need to manage data. That's it, of course, not services. So let's say that the data integration is a subset of application integration. Compared to the application integration, most of the time it's simpler, it's cheaper, and give more flexibility in order to manage the integration phase and the speed of it, and reduce the cost of it. When you see on the left, the point-to-point connection, of course, sometimes you can find some integration middleware, such as an ESB, API gateway, but because the applications involved in an application integration phase, they must use the services of each other. There's a quite strong correlation, logic correlation between them. With data integration, this is a little less heavy as a behavior, because at the end is the data itself that matters, and not so much how the data are produced. And so what are the benefits of the data integration? As I said, when you can apply it, not all the time, give you a little bit more flexibility and reduce the cost. Most of the time, it doesn't interfere with the existing infrastructure. So you don't have to request to change APIs or services in order to fit the integration layer. It usually tends to cut the cost, so it's quite cheaper than the application integration context. And of course, it gets easier sometimes to get rid of at some point about a legacy, for example, Java application. You want to replace it with some Python or Go or other language, other technologies, as long as the format of the data and the support of the data remain the same. So these are quite good advantages that, of course, you can rely on about data integration. So how Flowable is helping us in our Data One product. Data One is the name of our solution that enable our clients to implement the data integration. We have been partners with Flowable and user of this technology for about 6 years right now. So I'm going to share with you some concept first about our platform, and then how Flowable is enabling us to achieve this outcome. So let me go back shortly about our previous example, where a customer needs to integrate data across their different departments, which most of the time they use different technologies. So in this data scenario, most of the time when we approach our clients, we see that they already have in place a kind of integration approach like this. Each single department started to develop a kind of point-to-point integration with the other parties. And of course, time goes on. At some point, this situation can get really hard to manage, messy. At some point, just a little small change in some technology or application can have a huge impact around the organization. So where do we help our clients? Well, we usually start approaching our clients suggesting to use our technology, Data One, and we function as an hub spoke. So all the different parties just deal with our platform, and it's up to Data One to make sure that the data are delivered or made available to the consumer at the right time. I really do emphasize the importance of the time, because time, most of the time, is the dimension that in the data integration market, it's unfortunately quite neglected. So it's really important that the data are available to the consumer at the right time. How do we achieve this? Well, we usually provide to our clients both the methodology and the technology. Starting talking about the methodology, we came up with a methodology that we call contract-oriented architecture, that we developed with all the experience we made in the last 35 years. And actually, it's quite simple to describe. So we are going to split a data flow, a pipeline that must be put in place between the data producer and the data consumer in 3 different phases. There is a phase 1 that we call the input contract. That is the phase where the platform is going to ingest the data. So the producer can push their data to the platform, or the platform is going to fetch the data from the producer that has put, of course, available in somehow. Why the contract? Well, the contract, it's a quite well-known mean to make sure it's really clear what the 2 parties are supposed to do. So it's a way that simplify also how to define SLA, service level agreements, what are the interface, the scheme of the data, when the data is supposed to be available. So all these kind of important properties of the phase of the ingestion are defined inside what we call the input contract. Then when the data are acquired by DataOne platform, we can start to elaborate them if this is needed. Elaboration could be, for example, some quality check on the data we received, could be an encryption of the data, could be a merge or an enrichment of data. So you want to make sure that the data sets you are acquired are going to be enriched or translated in somehow. So all these steps are defined in what we call the mediation contract. And the last one, at some point after all these operations, we want to make sure the final data is available to the consumer. So we define this important step in the output contract. And here we can or deliver the data to the final destination, to the consumer, or we can just put in somewhere that could be file system, a database, a staging area, the data that is available to the consumer, that he will come and fetch it. The contract also has an important role in making clear who is part of this process all the time, when the data are going to be available, and what, of course, must be involved in this data integration phase. On the technology side, what we have done is this. All these 3 phases are putting together through events. So we are in a choreography scenario. We don't have a traditional data pipeline from the beginning to the beginning of the phase till the delivery of the phase as a workflow. So you can see it as the composition of these 3 steps, but these 3 steps triggered with each other through events. Inside, instead, each contract, we have an orchestration. And to achieve this outcome, we use a Flowable BPM engine. So Flowable is at the heart, at the core of this technology, because it's the technology that allows us to make sure each single contract can execute smoothly under control. And the Flowable integration has been done wrapping the classical workflow definition around the contract. So most of the time, we prepare through templates the designed by us workflows, and so the final user has just in a kind of self-service portal way to configure what we already prepared in a contract. Sometimes there are corner cases or scenarios that are not covered by already out-of-the-box contract, and so we provide through the Flowable Designer that we have customized the possibility to define their own workflow. In fact, what we have done during this integration, thanks to the help we got from Flowable experts, we were able to embed their designer, and we were also able to customize service tasks. So we already rely to the rich set of service tasks that Flowable provide with the technology. And then we created some more specific service tasks that have a meaning and importance in our context during the integration phases. On the back end, on the server side, what we have done, we embedded in our application server specific modules that belong to the engine that allow us to have this cluster of different application servers that can allow us to scale up the execution of the contracts when we have a quite important workload. And about workload and numbers, I want just to share with you some of the numbers, of course, that we have in place with our clients. So today, thanks to Flowable, we are able to manage around 300,000 instances per day. We already developed with great success more than 30 custom service tasks. And of course, we want to explore more now. So Flowable BPM engine has been shown a very reliable technology. Now we start getting some interest to explore also the DBMM engine and the new Flowable low-code technology, new to us. It's already around for some time. Okay, so now I will leave the control to my colleague Cristiano, that is going to introduce some business cases and some projects we developed over time.
Thank you, Luca. So Data One platform is industry agnostic and can be leveraged for the automation of data integration tasks for any sector. So let's start to present some cross industries success story. The first one is about retail sector. The customer is one of the largest retail company in Latin America with more than 1,000 stores. As a challenge, they needed to achieve SOX compliance, as it was one of the requisites in the path for listing on the stock exchange. This meant to cover critical points such as data security policy, governance, and guarantee data delivery in a very complex integration scenario, which include all the stores from one side and the headquarter business applications on the other side. Next, please, Luca. Okay, thank you. The solution proposed is based on a Primeur integration platform in a distributed architecture, which include an edge component deployed into the stores and the central hub deployed into the headquarters for the communication with internal business application using secure protocol such as SFTP, FTPS, or the Primeur proprietary protocol, which is called PR4. The transfer data are about listing, price list, sales, product catalog, and are needed to support the business process of the retailer. These data flow are based on the contract-oriented architecture, as said before by Luca, and in this logic, the contracts share the common workflows, which are based on Flowable. Important to say is that the solution proposed didn't require any changes to the business application. Benefits they had are an improved business visibility, 30% penalty reduction thanks to the SOX compliance achieved, and 20% customer loyalty increase thanks to a better customer experience at the store. Next, please. Thank you, Luca. The second one is about the telco sector, and the customer is one of the largest telecommunication companies in the world. Talking about challenge, as part of consolidation and cost reduction strategy, they needed to build a financial hub able to communicate with banks using standards on one side, and with group companies business application on the other side for the payment order process management. The solution proposed is based on Data One, the Primeur data integration platform for data exchange between financial entities and application using secure protocols, and providing data transformation capabilities to satisfy different standards and format. Also here, data integration flow are based on a contract-oriented architecture, where in this case, mediation contracts share common and reusable workflow, always based on Flowable, to invoke the right data mapping according to the needed transformation. Benefits they had are cost saving thanks to the reduction of the number of bank accounts and the transaction fees, and an improved business governance and visibility. The third one is about the automotive sector. The customer is one of the largest leading automakers with more than 15 brands and plants in many countries. Sorry. Here the customer needed to move from a reactive to a preventive capacity management to support supply chain processes in order to prevent material critical shortage for production. Solution provided by Primeur. The solution provided is an hybrid data, is based on an hybrid data integration, including data transfer, data transformation, and data flow governance features, allowing fully monitoring production schedules and matching in real time the supply chain data flow. As a benefit, the most important one was to prevent material shortage risk and guarantee the agreed SLA. Then, thanks to the end-to-end data flow monitoring, they were able to reduce the operational time and cost. And finally, a reduction of the incident resolution time. The last one is about the banking and the finance sector. The customer is one of the central bank in Europe, with a lot of data exchange with the European Central Bank, along with international and national banks. They needed to consolidate and replace the old MFT systems, adopting a unique, modernized and open platform, able to integrate with existing security services of the bank, based on third-party technologies, and also to support additional traffic and new business cases. The solution proposed is based on Primeur data integration platform for exchanging data about mortgage, loans, and credit between financial entities and internal application of the bank using secure protocols. Platform has been deployed in a distributed architecture between mainframe, intranet for bank internal applications, and internet for reaching the business partner applications. And thanks to the Data One workflow engine, it was able to integrate as a requester the external shared services of the bank to verify the security of the data. So for virus, sign, and cryptography. The benefit achieved are full governance and visibility on data as they flow from source to destination, meaning SLA management. Then no need to replace existing IT services, but preserving them and the know-how and the investments. Then more than 5,000 business partners onboarded into the platform, and the high traffic peak management up to 100,000 files per day. So that's all. These are the main success story provided today. So thanks for your interest and attention today.
Thank you very much, both of you, Cristiano and Luca. Was a really illustrating presentation, really showing a lot, and also like showing the benefits. I think especially the end was really interesting, also to see what you're providing for your end customers. So that's really nice to see that. In the meanwhile, we also received some questions while he was presenting. Maybe I will just continue with Cristiano, as like it's also around customers. Is it possible also to mention a few names or of the customers? That's one question we got.
No, sorry, it's not possible to mention the.
Okay. That's one question we got, so it's okay. And I mean, another one, I think the slide from Luca at the beginning illustrated percentage-wise, let's say the industries, how many customers are using in different industries the platform. Do you have also absolute numbers? How many customers are already on Data One? Like, do you have there some figures?
Not with me, but of course, then we can share the numbers in a follow-up session. Absolutely.
Cool. I think you mentioned this a bit, but maybe you can explore a bit more, Luca, about the features that you, let's say, planning to explore more about Flowable, right? So I mean, yeah. I think at the moment you have like, you're focusing a lot on BPMN, right? I mean, on the service orchestration. I think Flowable offers much more than that, right? I mean, and are you also planning exploring more features, and what is the timeline, maybe a bit around that? So
absolutely. So one of the features we are very interested in is the DMN engine. The reason is we keep getting requests from our clients to start providing a kind of rule engine decision making. So we start a few months ago to explore this technology of the rule engines, but we'd like also to take in consideration the DMN features of Flowable, because of course we already have integrated the technology, and it could be smoother for both us and our clients keep using these experience and skills they have already acquired. So this is one thing. The second one, it's now in a prototype phase, but we are working also on a new solution in order to make it shorter the onboard phases for our clients. When I speak about onboard, I mean not just the configuration of the endpoints, but also the definition of all the data you have to collect in order to make this happen. And what we found out is, especially in the finance market, there are many different ways they do this job. Some of the well-organized clients we have, they address these issues using software such as Salesforce, for example. Others instead are still using Excels, and then start sharing by email Excels. You can imagine the confusion after a while that where they can go. So we think that instead of providing as a part of our platform, also all the services in making sure the different actors involved in a flow integration can be share this collaboration tool could be valuable. So we start working on that. Again, Flowable is a big part of it because thanks to the workflow and the human task, we can make sure that all the steps of this journey can go smooth. And the DMN is a part that we think can give a quite big help on this project. The other part that we'd like to explore more is the low code services provided right now by the platform, because of course we are in the data integration market, so we are not in the automation market. But many times we are asked to achieve some small part of the automation that sometimes means customize a specific web page or make sure that some kind of alert can be delivered to a mobile phone. And as you can imagine, it's impossible to make sure you prepare such big number of templates that can cover all these possible scenarios. So we believe, but of course we still have to start discussing with you guys because we don't have any experience right now in the technology. But for what we could see so far about the technology, we believe that there are part of these challenges that clients are asking us to address, where the low-code services of Flowable can benefit and help us out.
Cool. Then another question is, how long are you already using Flowable? Maybe that's
okay. I guess it's about 6 years right now. So we are getting quite familiar with the technology. We came from another BPM engine when we made this transition. And one benefit we immediately proved was it was much easier to use this technology, but also we got a great support from the expert of Flowable. So that was smooth. Now it's a quite, let me say, consolidated technology. As you can see before, contract is the core, is the heart of our solution. And behind the contract, there's the Flowable engine. So sometimes we are, tough with Flowable support because we are in sometimes a critical production systems. But the technology has proved to be very reliable. The numbers we are doing are challenging. We have clients that are asking us in the next 2 years to achieve some operations such as file transfer in a number of 1 million per day. So we start talking about important numbers, but we see during our benchmarking, during our R&D sessions that we are happy in what we are doing with Flowable. And I guess in 6 years, we developed also quite a good understanding, speaking about the BPMN, how to customize, especially this was for us a very important part of the services task, because we don't sell the BPMN. We have decided to use this technology behind the scene. So most of the time, the users that is going to design the contract is not a BPMN expert. So we have to make sure that we protect as much as we can our user to design weird stuff just because they don't have the expertise. And here is where our service task come handy, because they made us possible to simplify a lot this missing knowledge that we have from our user that is normal, because we never require, of course, them to be skilled or certified on BPMN.
Cool. And the last question for today, I don't know where the future of Primeur is going, if they're planning to also, let's say, release other products or anything. Are you planning also to use Flowable in other, let's say, line of businesses or products you might, do you have any plans in this area?
Yeah, for sure, as I said before, this new prototype that is a software that is going to be installed beside our main platform, Data One. We rely for sure on Flowable. Is already doing this. So we have already used the traditional BPMN to implement a big part of it. We want to explore, as I said before, the DMN. And of course, if moving on in the future, there will be more opportunities based on the use cases that our clients over time bring to us. For sure, Flowable, it's for us now one of our strategic technologies and partners. So it's there.
That's very nice to hear, right? So sometimes, you know, like, and it's really nice when, you know, like to hear this kind of messages also from a customer, right? So I think we are also like, also from us, Primeur is a strategic customer, right? We're trying really to support you guys in your journey, and I think it was successful so far. So I'm really excited to see where the journey continues also for the next years, right? Thank you very much, Luca, Cristiano, for presenting today, answering our questions. So I think it gave a really big insights in, let's say, the value and the way you guys use Flowable, right? For the audience, I hope that the 6 business streams, the overview on how flexible and interoperable Flowable is. So we actually demonstrated various industries, various countries, various use cases. So we actually worked in various we're working with various customers. It was really great to me to have this online experience this year with the FlowFest. We had so many questions, we had so many engagement. I'm sorry that we cannot follow up on everyone during the sessions. We have a limited time frame, but we will follow up after the sessions for sure. And don't forget, as I said at the beginning, that all sessions are recorded. So that means we will make them available shortly after the event, so everyone can watch the sessions again and can go over it. Thank you for joining. See you next year. FlowFest 2023 is already around the corner, and we are very excited to see you again there.
Thank you.